this day and age, it seems that there is more fear than love in the world. And this is actually very apparent. But what you need to realize is that this reality is more or less an illusion. If you can realize this, you can have the best experience you possibly can, and that is the goal. You can bypass all of the fear that is put out. And if you can do this, then no one can no longer control your subconscious mind and ultimately affect your reality. You can literally change your reality. This is the basic principle of Hermeticism. Now, I'd like to go into explaining some of what is Hermeticism. It's going to sound, if some of you think this is not mainstream, so it is ultimately the occult, and that makes it bad, you need to understand that occult means hidden, and basically hidden by terms of occult means the Catholic Church didn't want it to exist. And then you've got the idea that the Bible actually tells you, do not dabble in the occult. What is that actually telling you? Do not dabble in hidden things. Do not search for truth in hidden things. Only look in the Bible. Only look in Christianity. So, you need to think about what that's telling you. Now, back to Hermeticism. Now that you're not afraid of the word occult anymore. Hermeticism considers humanity to be on a spiritual journey to return to a state of unity with the divine. It's basically the belief that the general view of life, not just humanity, but the general view of life, is to incarnate on a dense plane, very, very separate from Source, and while you're there, to remember Source, because when you incarnate, you forget. So the goal is that once you're there, to remember and become harmonious. Earth is a little different. Earth, us humans decided to go through a great darkness before we experienced any sort of lightness.
Because every single one of you that are on Earth now, in some way, shape, or form, chose to be on Earth now because you knew that you would be going through a transition and a transformation at this time in your planet's history, and on some level, in some way, you wanted to participate. You wanted to be a part of that because it's a very exciting place to be right now. As you say in your language, it's where it's happening. It is one of the most highly focused places right now that we are aware of in creation for the idea of transition and transformation. It is one of the few places that has gone as deeply into the dark as you have, that we are aware of. And thus then, when a planet, when a civilization, when a collective consciousness can allow itself to experience such a great degree of darkness and yet still find its way to the light, that is special. That is powerful.
Now what's also important is to realize that our systems of disharmonious nature are collapsing. You can see this through Occupy Wall Street and other, just pretty much anything else. The idea of a transformation is becoming manifest, which is very important, and it also shows that we are moving out of this stage. Now, I would like to continue with our background of Hermeticism. Hermeticism is short for Hermes, or it comes from the word Hermes, which is the Greek Egyptian god of wisdom and magic. But that's not the original form. Remember, all of these, as history progresses, all of these Greek gods, they came from other actual beings that existed, and they weren't they're not gods. They're advanced creator beings. A lot of them which came to help, and some which did not, but that's another story. It's ultimately Thoth. I'm sure many of you have heard of Thoth and Ra and all of them. But Thoth is basically the form of Hermes, the original form of Hermes. I'm sure many of you have heard of the Emerald Tablets. He's considered to be the writer of those. They're written on an unperishable material kept in Egypt, one of the pyramids, I believe. So it's important to note that if you can understand these principles of Hermeticism, then you could change your reality very easily, and you won't be affected. People won't be able to affect you and affect your mind. Ultimately, they won't be able to control your reality, because if they control your mind creates your reality. The universe is mental, the all is mind, and that brings us to one of the principles of Hermeticism, and we'll get to that in the next part.